Okay. There's one more person who sent me an email that said they were definitely coming, and there's another person that usually is here every week. Uh, but everybody else is here, and we start at 8 o'clock, so it's 8:15. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And if they join us later, then great. Hang on one second. All right. So, uh, yeah, I guess, for all we know, they're sitting in the dark right now. So we have a little weather. I'm doing fine. I guess you guys are all doing fine. Um, I'm going to go ahead and I'm recording now. So I'm going to go ahead and okay, I don't think I have to mute you because okay, there we go. Everybody's muted. Good. So thank you for coming. Well, so tonight, I the so the the experience here is that so, the experience here is that consciousness is no longer localized. There's no longer a an overwhelming connection to this form or this body mind. There there is an association, but it's not any more significant than the association with all other forms. So consciousness kind of left and then didn't come back fully, or the sense of separation was permanently broken. So it's really not even probably accurate to talk about experience because there's not really an I with its story anymore to have experiences. Things just kind of seem to happen, they seem to just arise, but there's no one that they're happening to. And So there's like a great freedom in that, and a kind of peace that is constant, regardless of what might be going on in the outer world. And the it's as if the mechanism of mind has been seen through. All the ways that mind, the mechanics of mind work to make us believe in separation, to make us believe that we are separate from other people, that we are separate from the manifest universe, that we are separate from the absolute. It's as if once the fundamental mechanism of separation from others broke, it allowed a seeing through of all of those processes, those almost mechanical processes that mind has of keeping us separate from all that is. And so it becomes when the mechanism of the ego that keeps us separate from others breaks down or is seen through so that it can no longer function, then quickly following that is the realization that the person is not real, that the person is only a dream character, a character. It's sort of like waking up in a lucid dream. You wake up in the dream, but you know you're dreaming, but the dream keeps going. And so you're a character in the dream, and you play your role in the dream. When the other dream characters speak to you, you know you're awake, you know it's a dream, and you know that they are just aspects of your own consciousness because if you know that, after you know, if you know in your waking consciousness that everybody in a dream is you, then when you have a lucid dream, which is where you wake up within the dream, you know you're dreaming, but the dream keeps going, and then the other characters come to you and talk to you. There could be like a desire to say, "Hey, this this is just a dream, right?" Or there could be a desire to just play along, just keep going along with the dream. You probably will do whatever seems the most appropriate in that instance. And there's kind of there isn't really a preference, but there's kind of a appropriateness of the response. Different. There's kind of an outward. There's sort of an outward movement of compassion to want to help, even though there's a realization that there's really no one to help and nothing to help them with, because none of this is real. It's all just a dream. But the suffering within the dream is real, and the apparent situations appear to be real to those who are suffering from them. So there tends to be a kind of response from different levels, there does seem to be a preference to kind of hang out in Christ consciousness, which is sort of seeing everyone as one, realizing that there are no separate people, but that people think they're separate. And so you want to address them or answer their concerns on that level, because it's the most meaningful and most helpful. There's also a kind of a preference of wanting to luxuriate in the going past that and really getting out there, which is a lot of fun, but kind of makes me totally dysfunctional and not very useful. And so long as this form, this body mind continues, then the form has to be honored and taken care of. So it's good to not be useless. So that's that is sort of a sideways approach to the whole difference between the progressive path and the direct path. And the progressive path is a kind of gradual lessening of attachment to ego, of egoic identification, of being so totally identified with the story of me, of past, present, and future, even cause and effect. So totally identified with that there's no ability to step back. So the first step, if you will, is probably just learning to become disidentified from the egoic story so that you can have some objectivity around it and step back and just start observing it. When you're totally caught up in it, there's no ability to observe it. And the good thing about observing it is you eventually begin to catch on to its tricks, to all the ways that the mind lies to you. And so you watch it for a while, and the identifications start out as being primarily out there in the world, out there in manifestation. I am being treated unfairly. So that's, you in the world in relationship to someone else or some situation or some institution. So I am being treated unfairly. So that's an egoic identification with the story. Probably with roots in the past, which become a filter through which you're seeing the present, misseeing the present, misinterpreting the present, and you get caught up in that story, I am being treated unfairly. And your egoic identification is out there. You're focused on what's going on out in the world. And then so when you solve that problem, however you solve it, there will be another one. And when you solve that one, there will be another one. And when you solve that one, and on 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 it goes. There's no end to it. It's never going to end. As long as the ego can keep you believing in the myth of separation, separation from others, separation from God, separation from yourself, believing that this universe, this matrix of manifestation exists by keeping you focused on what's going on out there, it's going to keep doing that for as long as you let it get away with that. So you want to first bring your attention, your awareness within, instead of focusing on how the situation out there is unfair and what other people are doing that's unfair. Focus instead on how does that make you feel? What are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts and behaviors doing to contribute to that apparent situation? And it is all only apparent. It's only apparently arising. It's not really true. It's not really there. And you see that when you begin to break down the mechanism, you begin to see all the ways in which what is right now is totally perfect, whole, and complete, just as it is. And there is nothing other than what is. So like right now, what is I'm sitting in front of a computer screen and you guys are all sitting in front of your monitors or phones or whatever. And that appears to be what's happening. And a conversation, a talking appears to be what's happening. But all of that is only just an apparent arising within this matrix of manifestation. And this the egoic mind wants to compare and try to make better. Like, what is wrong with this moment now? How can it be made better? Really, how can it, more like, how can it be fixed? How can I fix this situation? This situation is unacceptable. Whatever is happening right now is not acceptable. So I need to fix it. And that's the whole impetus of seeking. The whole motion of spiritual seeking is a non-recognition of the perfection of what is, a judgment, and I mean that in the pejorative blaming sense, a judgment that what is not good enough, that it's inherently wrong, and I need to make a movement towards a better situation. And that energy of seeking is a contracted energy. It's in contracting, in judging the present moment as wrong, we contract away from it. And that contraction is what causes us to feel separate from all that is. And that feeling of separation generates the loneliness and the alienation that becomes the problem that we want to find the antidote for in the course of our spiritual seeking. So the problem that we're trying to fix is created by the very activity of trying to fix it. And so you eventually realize that all of these situations out there that the ego wants us to focus our attention on, not, it's not like it's a separate entity, it's you, it's something you are doing. It's a chronic thing that you are constantly doing. But I suppose it's helpful in kind of like coming to understand it if you kind of think of it as something separate from you, but really it's not. It's kind of like a chronic thing that you're chronically doing. And that chronic action of separation, ultimately you will realize is what's causing the problems to manifest in your outer world. So the solution is not out there in the outer world. The solution is to come within. How does that make you feel? What thoughts are you having that's generating that situation or condition in your life? What behaviors are your thoughts causing you to manifest that contribute towards that situation or condition in your life? And ultimately, that's going to get down to some form of identification with the body mind. So long as you think that you are a separate person confined to your physical body mind, you will continue to have those kinds of situations arise. First as a thought in your mind, then as a condition in your outer world. So the process is, I appear to be having a problematic situation in my outer world. So I am being treated unfairly. Go within. I am being judgmental. That is inside in the consciousness. Go further back. I am being judgmental because I am fearful, because if I don't protect myself, I will not be able to make a living. Go further back. I think I need to make a living because I need to eat, because I am my body mind. Go further back. I'm not my body mind. I am not my name. I am not my gender. I am not my role in society. I am not the food I eat. I am, which is the first motion into consciousness, the first step into separation. The first turning away from all that is with the desire to be your own separate entity. So go even further back. Prior to that, where does that come from? From where does I am arise? What is prior to consciousness, to I am, to the sense you have that you exist? So that's a difficult step, and it's not immediately apparent. And so the traditional advice is to practice meditation so that you can reach a calm, still center, and all the distracting thoughts that bring you out into the world out there, worried about your bills, stressing over how things are going at work, thinking about how your in-laws are not fair to you, all that stuff keeps you agitated and separated and problematically focused on everything out in the world, rather than being focused on what's going on within your own consciousness, which is the only thing you can do anything about, and which is where everything really starts. So the traditional meditation is to meditate to a calm center so that you can then become the witness or the observer, and calmly and dispassionately observe your thoughts as they come and go in your mind. And when you watch these thoughts arising, lingering for a while, and then passing, fading away, eventually it dawns on you that none of them are real, that they have no intrinsic reality. And that how you're perceiving the things out external to consciousness out there in the world are not real either. That you're perceiving according to the interpretation of your thoughts, that you're never really seeing anything as it really intrinsically is. You're seeing everything through the filter of your thoughts, the filter of your past experiences. It's all being projected onto what's happening in the present moment. You never actually experience what's happening now, because if you did, you would see its complete perfection and wholeness and completeness, and that it doesn't lack anything. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need to be fixed or improved or changed. But you bring the past to it, and you see it through the filter of the past and past experiences and judgments and rules that you made up along the way or learned from your culture or your family or, whatever, wherever it comes from. So you watch these thoughts come and go, and you begin to realize that how you're seeing things out there in the world are just as flimsy and insubstantial and wispy and ultimately as unreal as the thoughts you're having. So that would be the first step to, according to the traditional advice, to meditate, to bring stillness to the mind so that you're able to objectively, calmly, dispassionately witness your thoughts as they come and go. Which helps you to see that the correspondence between the thoughts that come and go and the situations that come and go in your outer life. And that gives you sort of like you begin to develop experience with the mechanics of how the mind works, the mechanics of how it keeps you stuck in the veil of Maya, the illusion, the dream, the hallucination, how it fosters and keeps going this whole sense of being a separate self, separate from all that is. And then, so like the traditional advice is for people to meditate on the I am, drop all the identifications. I am a woman, I am a teacher, I am being treated unfairly, just drop all that and go to I am. And they tell you to meditate on the I am. And that isn't where they want you to stop, but that is it usually says something like, if you meditate on the I am, and all will be revealed. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that the ultimate thing is the I am, awareness of awareness. If you meditate on I am consciousness and get into how your consciousness is aware of itself rather than being aware of objects out there, and then um, um, bringing it inside and being aware of your breathing or the sound. If you get very, very quiet and meditate on the sound within yourself, it's an Om sound. And so that's like the sacred sound, Om. And you can hear that Om sound if you meditate within and get very quiet. And a lot of people take that to be like the ultimate achievement. But all of that is just meditating on what's going on inside rather than what's going on outside. And um, the point of it is to get in contact with that I am consciousness. But that's not the end of the road. There is something prior to that. And it's generally felt, though, that you have to spend time at the I am consciousness level before you can go to what is prior to that. And that most people are doing very well if they simply get to the I am consciousness level. But if you get there and stay there long enough, have enough meditations there, eventually you'll be shown, it will be revealed, you will experience what is prior to I am, which is why the traditional advice is meditate on the I am and all will be revealed. I am will reveal your own I am consciousness will reveal all to you. Your own inner guru, there's another way it's often said, will reveal all to you. And so that's the progressive path. It's sort of like a gradual unveiling of the layers of illusion. The realization that the universe is not real, time, past, present, and future are not real, cause and effect are not real. Once the belief in your own individuality is gone, everything else just sort of falls apart. It's like you see, at first it's like a big surprise. Oh, I'm not real. But then as soon as that happens, there comes quickly following that is, oh, well then none of this is real either. And if none of this is real, then cause and effect and past, present, and future go out the window. And so if you gradually unwind egoic identification. Egoic identification is it's the root of all of this. And it starts out by untying, I don't know how to put this, untying your allegiance to superficial things at a superficial level, but it keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until eventually you see that the whole I, this sense of self, this personality, this egoic self is just a thought and that it's not real. And then that unties the belief in the physical form and the universe and time, cause and effect. And you see that what that this, what is right now, is perfect. There is no need to fix it. There's no need to make it better. It is just absolutely whole and complete, just as it is. Um, and so that's the progressive path where it's like you're beginning out there and you gradually see through and come in. You see through the mechanics of ego and you come in from out there to in here, going deeper and deeper as you see through more and more fundamental mechanics. Starts out superficially in the outer world with some superficial mechanics. You go within and you go further in, deeper in, further and deeper in, and undo mechanics on a more and more fundamental level, because it's all hierarchical. It all starts out with the thought, I am separate from God. I exist. I'm my own separate individual existent thing. And from that, everything else follows. It has to follow. It's a necessary consequence of that original mistaken thought. So what we're really doing with the progressive path is just undoing the mess we made in reverse order, working our way backwards. And there's some, the progressive path has one good thing arguing for it, is that you can kind of measure your progress. You can see that you're making progress. You can watch yourself as you go further and deeper. And there's kind of a logical progression to it. But there's also a limitation to it, because, all the techniques of the progressive path are done by someone or something. Who is doing the breath work? Who is witnessing their thoughts? Who is meditating? And how do you get rid of that one? The progressive path is really all about using the mind to undo the mind, using the ego to undo the ego, which ultimately the ego is going to at some point say, hey, hang on a minute. I don't want to go anywhere. And then you get sabotage. You begin to sabotage yourself on your spiritual path so that you don't. The ego is going to indulge you up to a point because it's happy if you're busy. But beyond a certain point, it's not. And so that's why the traditional advice is do the progressive path until you get to the I am consciousness, and then wait, hang out there, meditate there as often as you can, for as long as you can, and wait for all to be revealed by your inner guru. Because the inner guru is the absolute. You're constantly being called to the absolute. The impetus, the desire for spiritual seeking is answering the call of the absolute for us out of love. So you're moving in that direction at all times. And there's actually not even a question of whether you're going to get there or not. It's inevitable. Everybody is going to eventually get there. So this so what is prior what is prior to the I am is the absolute calling to us. And so when you meditate in the progressive path and get to the I am consciousness and hang out there for a while, you are, I don't know how, within earshot of the absolute. The Course in Miracles says, like, we take all the steps to the gates of heaven, and then God takes the final step to bring us through. A lot of traditions talk about grace. You by pursuing the progressive path and getting to the I am consciousness, you now become available to grace, or you increase the likelihood that grace will enter into your life and take you that last little bit. But it's really, it's your own inner, this absolute prior to I am is your own inner guru and your inner teacher, which is the absolute, and is calling to you, and is why you began the very first step in the first place. And there may be there could be a factor of by that point, you've seen through the mechanics of how the mind functions so clearly that the hold of the ego is lessened, reduced, minimized to such a degree that you become it's as if you have your inner guru is a diamond covered with dirt, and you've been slowly cleaning off the dirt, and you get to the point where the diamond is clearly visible. It's just a light coating of dust. Like before, it was like you could think of it as like caked with a thick coat of mud, and you couldn't even tell what it was. You had no idea. It was a valuable diamond. It could have been like just a dead bug for all you knew, right? And you've been slowly cleaning off the mud and the dirt, and now all that's left is just this thin coating of dust, and you can clearly see that it's a diamond. And so that last little step of wiping away the final little thin layer of dust is not that big a deal. It's not that hard. So that's the progressive path. And the direct path is to simply go straight to that which is prior to the I am. And it's said that this can be done in meditation, and the only thing that keeps people from being able to do it is not believing that it's possible. So I'm going to do, let's just try this then. Let's do a meditation according to the direct path. So we'll close our eyes and get into a comfortable meditation posture. And when you're ready, take 3 deep breaths. And now forget everything that's happened to you today. Forget all about what's been going on in your life. Forget about anything going on with the weather. Just bring your awareness to your breath. Watch your breath going in and out of your nose. Bring your awareness to your breath. Notice how your breath feels going up your nostrils and how it feels on the exhale. You can actually feel the breath at the bridge of the nose on the inhale, and you can feel it on the upper lip on the exhale. That's how granular I want you to get on your awareness of your breath, okay? So you've withdrawn your awareness from what is going on out there, and you've placed it on what is going on in here, in your body, in your breath. So now let your awareness spread out throughout your body. From the breath, you scan down to the feet, and from the feet up to the head, and scan your body from feet to head and back again, to feet and back again to your head, and just scan through your body, becoming aware of what's going on in your body. And without moving, notice if there's any uncomfortable place in your body. And now that you've found it, you can move. And you can move your body now and release that uncomfortable feeling. But if you tell people to notice the uncomfortable feelings and don't tell them not to move their body, very often they'll immediately move their body. They don't notice that there's a stiffness in their knee until you bring it to their awareness, and then it's immediately they move their leg to release the stiffness in their knee, and then they forget that they had a stiffness in their knee or whatever it might be. Because we often become so disconnected from our bodies, our awareness is so out there that we don't even know what's going on. People can sit in an uncomfortable way, basically inflicting pain upon themselves without even realizing it. So we've moved our bodies now to release all the uncomfortable places. And now we bring our awareness deeper. we go deeper and further within. We bring our awareness to our thoughts. And if a thought arises, just don't follow it. Just watch it. Or an emotion or a feeling. Just watch it. Watch it arise, lingering for a bit, and then fading away. So you're aware of your thoughts in your body now. You're aware of your breathing. There's an awareness of your thinking, your breathing, and your body. So drop all that. Go drop below that or step back from that. Can you be aware of the awareness? Instead of awareness as subject, having body or breath or thoughts as objects of awareness, can the awareness be aware of itself? Can you be aware of your own awareness? And now drop underneath that, drop below that, or pull back from that. Can awareness simply be an awareness without object? Simply awareness. And awareness without object is consciousness. Awareness without object is the I am, amness, the I amness. And it's a quiet place of not going out. We rest and relax in this I am awareness without the need to go out. But what would happen if you went below or pulled back from this? What would happen if you let go of the need to cling to this I am? What would happen if you went to what is prior to I am, what is before this I am awareness? What if you just dropped it? This is home. This is the natural state. But it's so simple, we overlook it. This is really, it's the state you are in deep sleep every night when mind has stopped. And it's the state you are in when you first awaken, when you first wake up in the morning, before you have that first thought that creates the universe. You know, you wake up, you're conscious, you're aware, but you haven't had that first thought yet. Oh, it's Saturday, I need to go to the grocery store. That starts the whole story making apparatus of mind. Before that starts, and you feel like most people, you know, we're talking less than half a second between waking up and the first thought, but it is there. And that is your natural state. It is home. It's the place you are before the stories start. But it's so easy and so simple that we overlook it. And it is true that so long as we are body mind, so long as we have form, have to interact in the world of form, it's going to mean that we have to put some energy of attention and awareness out there in the world. But it's, you don't have to put it all out there. You don't have to allow 100% of your energy to go out there. It actually doesn't take very much energy at all to do everything that you need to do out there in the world of form. You can, I don't have a scale that measures these things or an instrument, but to me, it feels like you can keep 90% of your energy focused on this place prior to awareness, and have 10% going out there to deal with whatever. So I'm going to invite you to open your eyes slowly and have it be your intention to stay within by 90% and only allow 10% of your energy, your awareness, to be interacting with the world out there. Does that make sense? In other words, we're going to open our eyes and continue the meditation, eyes open, at least by 90%. Because I think you'll find as you go through the next week that this inner guru is so what's the word? Powerful, vast, that 10% is more than enough, plenty for dealing with, things like driving, going to the post office. So, are there any questions? So then I will say good night. Good night, everyone.